Alright, what's up guys? This is Tim the Berlin Trader with the daily crypto chart update for August 30th, 2017. Let's start with Bitcoin. We have a pretty strong pattern here on the daily chart. We ran up in the beginning of August and we've consolidated for a couple of weeks right under this 4,500 level, which served as resistance. But just yesterday we broke through and now we're holding there for a little bit, and I fully expect that to head up once again. Probably first stop at that 5,000 level. We'll see some resistance there. I'm sure we'll get a lot of news headlines. I'm sure we'll get a lot of publicity at that level, so it could mean that people take profits and we fall back down, or it could mean that more people come in due to the press coverage, or more people get excited and we just break out and keep going higher. Long term, I'm in the camp that this thing is going to 10, 20,000. I hope 2 million because I got a lot of money invested, but at least for the short term, in the next days and weeks, 5,000 seems quite reasonable. So again, when we have a trend, right, we connect those prices and we can see that there's a very strong uptrend with Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin is strong, all the other coins seem to follow suit. When Bitcoin is strong, that means Ethereum is usually doing well, Dash is doing well, Litecoin is doing well. So let's check out those other in the crypto space. We have Ethereum here. Let's compare that to the US dollar. Now Ethereum has been going strong for the last couple of weeks. You know, I've been in this since around 220. Let's check out the daily chart. Just looking at the daily chart, we saw the all-time highs up around 400. We saw a decline in June, and then we just saw it go right back up starting in July. And right now we're coming up against that 400 level, which served as resistance back in June. So we should see a pause. We should see some people taking profits. So I don't expect it just to break through 400. I expect it at least to pull back a little, maybe bounce around a bit. If that happens, we do have the chance for a very classic technical pattern called the cup and handle, which is one of my favorites because it's high probability trade, right? We see that cup form, the saucer, and then we see a nice handle form, which basically means that the price isn't going down so much. And once we have that pattern, we expect to break out to the upside. And that could be quite a big breakout in the end. If we use our Fibonacci levels to make a target, which is what I use for my targets, classic Fibonacci retracement going from the high of the old move down to the bottom of that move, then we see the Fibonacci retracement of 161.8 right around 590, 600. So if we break 400, I fully expect us to see 600, and it could go higher even to the 200% move at around 700. But we'll wait to see what happens. So with, let me hide those drawings again. With Ethereum, we're not entering here. We're going to wait and see how it reacts at those all-time highs. And if we have good action, if we get a cup and handle pattern, then that would be a really good sign. But we don't want to enter here because it could just fall back and crash back down to 200, because that's what happened back in June, right? So we could just have a repeat of that action, and that would not be good if you enter. But looking strong overall. Litecoin, Bitcoin's twin brother here, his lighter, more attractive brother. Yeah, I love that pattern on Litecoin. We have that upward channel just chugging along, right? Every time we connect those lower prices to make that trend line, and every time we come up against that line, we just bounce right off and head up again. And overall, just gradually going up. So what I've been doing is just trading the range, right? We have a range and you just trade the range. Every time it hits the bottom of that range, you get in, and every time it gets near the top of that range, you get out. Buy low, sell high. It works until it doesn't work anymore. And right now it's working. So fully expect Litecoin on the daily chart to get up to around 80. And if we just check out the 60-minute chart of Litecoin, We can kind of zoom in. And I like the 60-minute chart to time my entries, right? We can get a better picture of what's going on inside those bigger patterns. And we see here a nice run up on Litecoin on the 27th. And then we have this nice pennant wedge pattern here where the price is consolidating. It's in the range is getting smaller, right? Less buyers, less sellers, less buyers, less sellers. And eventually something has to happen. It has to break down or it has to break out. So that's what we're going to wait for. It could go either way, but we use the daily chart to give us our direction, right? To give us our overall bias. And our bias on the daily chart is within that channel. The blue lines mark that channel. And within that channel, we still have a ways to go to that top line. So around 77 or 80. Now Bitcoin Cash is the next big player, and that's pretty interesting at the moment, because what I've realized is that Bitcoin Cash really serves as a hedge for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is going up, then Bitcoin Cash is going down. If Bitcoin Cash is going up, then Bitcoin is going down. So if you don't want to short Bitcoin because it's too risky, or you're just not familiar with shorting, then you could just go long Bitcoin Cash when you think Bitcoin is going to go down. Because when Bitcoin goes down, then that money goes into Bitcoin Cash. So daily chart's not really helpful because we don't have so much information, but on the 60-minute chart, we can see that nice long consolidation. We've been watching this for weeks now. There's just this pattern that never ends here on Bitcoin Cash, up and down within the range, getting tighter and tighter. We tried to break down a couple days ago, but we came right back up. So that's a good sign for Bitcoin Cash. It means that we have buyers and that it's not ready to break down, but it's probably not going to break out until Bitcoin sees weakness. And if you remember, I said we had a target of 5,000 on Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin reaches that target, we might see some profits taken, and that money could come in to Bitcoin Cash. So what I watch for, right, I'm combining all these time frames, and I'm combining all the different coins out there to get an overall picture of money flow. When Bitcoin reaches its resistance, we'll probably see some profit taking, and I expect that money to flow into Bitcoin Cash. So we'll look for some strength in Bitcoin Cash around that time when Bitcoin is reaching its target. And that's when I will take money and move it to Bitcoin Cash as well. So those are the big coins. Dash, I forgot about Dash here. Let's look at Dash coin. And it's another healthy pattern. I like this one too. We have this rounded bottom, right? So same kind of thing. We might end up seeing a cup and handle form in the end. We'll probably see this rounded pattern continue, bounce up until it hits those all-time highs around 400, and then probably bounce down a little and form a cup. If that happens, then we might see continuation. Of course, it could always just go up to the resistance and crumble back down for whatever reason. But right now, it looks strong. So all the big coins are looking strong. And when all the big coins look strong, that usually means the random altcoins are seeing weakness. But I'm not focusing on all the altcoins at the moment. I'm trying just to give an overview of all the major coins. Ripple is one of the last major coins that I usually pay attention to, and it's also showing strength. So we had this double top form, which broke down, but it didn't break down too hard, and it's found its way back up against that resistance. You saw that when it came up to that resistance line, it consolidated, right? So that was clearly trying to hold the price back, right? That resistance held until this is the 60-minute chart, so until today, right? So it's just started to break out and consolidate, and if we can hold above this resistance, then it becomes a support level, right? Before, it was a resistance level. We couldn't break out, but now we broke out, and now that becomes a support level. So that means when the price goes down to that level, more people will come in. So that's looking pretty strong. I would actually say that's a pretty good entry at the moment, and I would expect it to at least get back up to those old highs, recent highs at 28. If we go on the daily chart, then we can see the bigger pattern. You know, Ripple's kind of a messy coin. It's not really beautiful to look at, so you got to look hard to find those patterns. You have to be careful not to draw a stupid pattern that doesn't make any sense. So we saw that resistance level. Sorry, this tool sucks. One second. What's going on here with my tools? Go back to the line. Yeah, we saw kind of flag consolidation there. A bit messy, but it broke down. And then it kind of stuck between these two blue lines, formed a range. And now we broke out of that range. And as we saw on the 60-minute chart, we're holding above that support level around 22 cents, which is a pretty important level, right? It's a support level, a resistance level that goes back to June and July, and we finally broke out of that again. So might be a good entry point here. Expect to move back up to around the old highs. Now, if we take Fibonacci retracement, we can really make a good projection for our targets. And with the Fibonacci retracement, you need to pick your reference points very carefully. I like to choose the depth of the last consolidation. It's one good place to go. And the target is the 161.8 retracement. That's the first target. And as you can see, we reached that target, right? We came up, and we broke through that target, and we came back down. And what it shows is that at that level, there was some resistance, right? And it matches the resistance from June and July, right? So when resistance levels in price and a Fibonacci level line up, that's a pretty good, strong place to set your target. But right now, we're hitting that target again, right? We're pressing up against it. This is the second time we've hit that target in only a few days. So if we can break through here, that's a sign of strength. The next target would be 261.8, which is around 28 cents. So I make my targets with fib levels because they just have this magic way of always working out, and it kind of mirrors human behavior. But you just have to make sure that you set your fib levels in the right place. And there's really not a 100% right place to set your fib levels, but you need to do it mechanically and methodically. Always put your fib levels, your Fibonacci levels, in generally the same places, you know, however you want to calculate it. And every time frame will have smaller targets, but on the daily, smaller targets or bigger targets. On the daily time frame, I have much bigger targets because we're dealing with larger price moves. Okay, so yeah, those are the main coins for today. Overall, everything looks pretty strong. One more tip, how to choose what coin. If they're all strong, then which coin is the best one to get in on? Well, in that case, you really want to check out which coins are doing the best against Bitcoin. So with Ethereum, if we compare it against Bitcoin, it looks pretty strong, right? It's in an uptrend. It's going up against that trend line. So Ethereum would be a good coin to, instead of getting in Bitcoin, you could get in on Ethereum because it's going up strong compared to Bitcoin. Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. Let's look at Litecoin. Litecoin, you know, we saw that Litecoin looked strong, right? It was in a channel compared to the dollar, but compared to Bitcoin, it's not really going anywhere, right? It's just kind of in this up and down zone, not really anything to grab onto, nothing beautiful, just kind of in a range between 10 and 20. So Litecoin might not be the best coin to get into. Even though it looks strong compared to the dollar, it doesn't look strong compared to Bitcoin. So you might as well get in Bitcoin instead of getting into Litecoin, right? And up here we can see that comparison. On the top left corner, you can see I'm comparing Litecoin to Bitcoin. And finally, if we look at, for example, Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin. Again, the daily chart has not that much information, so we're going to look at the 60-minute chart. So this is Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. Sorry, this is Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin. So came down, bounced around down here, shot up, and now it's kind of consolidating in this range. And if we see a breakout to the upside, that means that Bitcoin is falling and Bitcoin Cash is going up. If we see a breakdown to the downside, that means Bitcoin Cash is falling and Bitcoin is going up compared to each other. Remember, you always need to compare one currency with another, right? Because you can only reference it to something else. Is it going up compared to the dollar? Is it going up compared to Bitcoin? Is it going up compared to the euro? There's always a reference point. It's never in a vacuum. So always compare your currencies, your cryptocurrencies, to the dollar to get a feel for what's happening, and then compare them all to Bitcoin so you get a second point of reference. And if 3 coins are strong, then compare them to each other and you'll find out which coin is acting the strongest. And that's the one you want to enter because that has your best probability of continuing stronger. Alright guys, that was the crypto update for August 30th. Check out my videos on cryptoking.org. They have a lot of great articles there, and I'm featured there now as a regular daily update, and they have some great news articles there. Check the links below and give me a donation if you appreciate my work. I'm going to try and get one of these updates out every single day and give you the latest news on all the cryptocurrencies. And feel free to join any of the affiliate links I have below with some of the brokers, or if you need Bitcoin, join a wallet and get like a 10% discount, or sorry, a 10% bonus if you join Coinbase, for example. Just use some of my links, help me out. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.